It's time now for the VIC Video News Crime Watch for the week ending October 28th, 2022. A 7-month-old girl in Trinidad and Tobago is now an orphan after her parents were gunned down in their bed on Thursday morning. The bodies of Samantha Patrick and her common-law husband Corey Clark were found lying on top of the baby after a relative heard gunshots and went to check on the family. Clark's relative told reporters from Guardian Media that he believed the couple, both aged 30, had shielded their daughter from the bullets with their bodies. He thanked God for preserving the life of the child, whom he said he had expected to find injured or worse. Family members of both Clark and Patrick insisted that they were living honest lives, the man as the proprietor of a small shop and a part-time contractor in the unemployment relief program, and Patrick as a stay-at-home mom. There was no indication that the family had been receiving threats prior to the double homicide. Also in Trinidad, Ryan Rampersad, who was arrested on October 18th in connection with the shooting death of 15-year-old Videsh Dukran, has now been formally charged with the boy's murder. Dukran's body was discovered earlier this month, stuffed into an outside toilet, after police responded to an anonymous tip that detailed how the teenager had been shot and his body hidden in the latrine. On the advice of Director of Public Prosecutions Roger Gaspard, Magistrate Armia Dionorine Singh remanded Rampersad into custody until his next court appearance on November 16th. The other two, who had been arrested in connection with Dukran's murder, were subsequently released. In Jamaica, a manager and another employee of Sagicor Bank have been charged with several offenses, including conspiracy to defraud and breaches of the Proceeds of Crime Act. Tricia Moulton, manager of Sagicor's Liguania branch in St. Andrew, and personal banker Malika McLeod were both arrested on Wednesday as part of a multi-million-dollar fraud investigation. Each was assessed station bail in the sum of $1 million Jamaican dollars, about $6,500 US, and both will return to court on December 9th. The women are alleged to have worked together to create several fake accounts, which then drained money from the U.S. currency accounts of several Sagicor customers. Internal security systems reportedly revealed their actions, and Sagicor told reporters from the Jamaica Gleaner that the internal investigation was turned over to the police last Friday. The two employees have since been suspended, and Sagicor says that customers can feel secure that their assets are protected. Meanwhile, in Jamaica, a 12-year murder sentence has been adjusted upwards to life in prison after a historic appeal by the Director of Public Prosecutions. For the first time, the DPP utilized a law that gives the prosecution the right to appeal sentences. Today, Friday, an appeals court judicial panel agreed with prosecutors that Lindsay Powell's 12-year sentence for murdering Oral McIntosh and Ida Clark in separate incidents was too lenient. Powell, who pleaded guilty to the 2017 murders, is a former member of the Kings Valley Gang in Westmoreland and had been ordered to serve 10 of the 12 years in prison before becoming eligible for parole when he appeared before the Westmoreland Circuit Court in December 2021. However, DPP Paula Llewellyn took issue with that sentence, calling 12 years of incarceration for 2 gang-related homicides, quote, unduly lenient, especially since Powell could technically have been released after only a decade. Llewellyn requested each conviction attract a sentence of life in prison with between 20 and 28 years required before parole eligibility. The DPP argued that Powell's 2 prior firearm convictions should play a role in the enhancement of the penalty against him. Justices of Appeal Frank Williams, Evan Brown, and Nicole Simmons did decide on 2 life sentences for Powell, and the convicted killer will now have to serve almost 25 years before he can be considered for parole. The sentences will run concurrently. The option for prosecutors to appeal sentences and acquittals under certain circumstances came as a result of amendments to the Judicature Appellate Jurisdiction Act that took effect in November 2021.